Recent studies are showing that nearly 50% of Americans report feeling worse off financially than they were a year ago, with some sources going as high as 66%. Now, rather than blame the government, inflation, and a number of other factors that, well, make it easy to point the finger, I think we have to look internally first and be honest about the role we play in our own financial health. So with that said, I'm going to share 5 normal habits that kept me broke and in debts for years and what I did to break those habits, pay off my debt, and stay out of debt. Now, if I share something that you can relate to, feel free to use what I've learned as a cheat code to help you improve your finances. All you have to do is pick what resonates with you and execute. When I was in college, I made a very random decision to design and sell t-shirts. Now, I didn't have a pre-existing t-shirt business. I didn't have a group of friends begging to wear my designs. No one asked me to do this. It was just something I did. Now, mind you, I'm not a graphic designer and I don't have any design experience in the digital space or the apparel space. I just wanted to make t-shirts and sell them in an effort to make some extra cash. But what I got from this experience wasn't that. What I got instead was a failed attempt at what I thought was a good idea, and B, a gut check at how silly of a get-rich-quick decision this was. Why am I saying that? Let me tell you how bad my tunnel vision was. Around the time that I made this decision, I was working an internship in marketing, but I was also bussing tables at a restaurant called Denny's twice a week. So I was making a little bit of money, but I was also racking up student loans. Now, rather than saving this money or paying off some of my student loans early, or better yet, buying my books for next semester so I wouldn't have to use student loans, right? What I did is I decided to take everything I made in a 2-month period or so, and I bought 150 t-shirts in various sizes in 2 different colors that were poorly designed by yours truly. Now, despite this failing and me wasting a ton of money, that wasn't the biggest lesson I learned. What it was this. Get-rich-quick decisions would never be the best financial decisions. Get-rich-quick decisions would never be the best financial decisions. Here was my reality. I didn't have a passion for or an interest in selling t-shirts or being an apparel company for that matter. What I saw was an opportunity to make some extra money and how easy others made it seem to design and sell t-shirts. So even though I didn't have the money to spend, I spent it hoping I would have the same success, which I didn't. Now, here's my encouragement to you. I believe that starting a side business or a business that is going to be your main source of income is one of the best decisions you can make. To be doing something that you consider to be meaningful work, whether it's part-time or full-time, is the best thing for you. But, and hear me when I say this, only if it's something you're truly interested in. Meaningful work comes to us and is appreciated by us in many different ways. I'm gonna say that again. Meaningful work comes to us and is appreciated by us in many different ways. To some, that may be working a job at a company with a job title you've always dreamed of. To others, that may be starting an apparel company. Whatever that looks like for you, the lesson to be had here is that making decisions for the wrong reasons, attempting to get rich quick, as they say, blowing money to make money and then praying that it'll somehow work is a recipe for staying broke and in debt. But so are monthly payments, and normalizing them got me in a lot of financial trouble. In the 30 years that I've been alive, I've had 1 credit card to my name. And 5 years ago, I called the credit card company to close this account, and to my surprise, they told me that they had already closed the account because there wasn't any activity for X amount of time. So as a safe estimate, I can confidently say that I haven't owned or used a credit card in at least 5 years. Now, the only reason I had one to begin with is because growing up, I was taught that I needed one. So I got one and I kept a balance on it because the monthly payments made it hard not to. And that was the problem. Monthly payments made it easy to stay broke and in debt. But it wasn't just the credit card payments. It was the gym membership, the subscription streaming services, apps on my phone, the student loans, other programs and services I signed up for on a subscription basis. And all of that was in addition to the necessities like rent and utilities. Because in my mind at that time, $8, $12, $15, $50 a month on its own didn't seem like a big deal. But when added up, I quickly realized that I had more going out than coming in. The monthly payments I was making, although convenient, right, which is why many people signed up for them to begin with, they were killing my finances. So I had to learn how to normalize behaviors that did not support the easy habit of monthly payments. And here's how I did that. The first thing I did is I cut up my credit card. As I mentioned, the credit card had already been closed by the credit card company due to no activity. But rather than reestablishing the account and having a new card shipped out to me, I had an honest conversation with myself. And I said, you know what? I'm never going to use this credit card. I haven't used it, which explains why the account was closed. So it doesn't really make sense to keep it. And on top of that, I can't really fall back on the explanation of it being great to have for emergencies because I don't believe in that. And the second thing I did is I started being an active participant in my finances. So rather than allowing my money to move mindlessly or to operate on autopilot, I decided to jump in the driver's seat and start managing my finances head on. Because the thing that truly kept me stuck in terms of being broke and in debt far longer than I needed to be was the fact that I had disorganized finances. And my finances were disorganized because I was disorganized. In 2018, I was 25 years old and I wrote my first budget ever. Crazy, right? How did I go 25 years and have never written a budget? I don't know, but I did somehow, right? But prior to all of this, all of my financial matters were managed in my head with the occasional log into my bank account just to see how much money I had available to spend. So to say that I was operating under dysfunction and a lack of financial organization would be a very accurate statement. Now, in hindsight, and we always have so much wisdom for our past selves when we make a statement like this. But in hindsight, I wish I would have taken the time to be an active participant in my finances sooner. Because the moment I got organized, it was a complete game changer for my life and my finances. And it put my family in a position we're in today that we would not have been in otherwise, right? So when I talk about getting organized, here's what that looks like. Writing a monthly budget every month. And not only writing one, but sticking to it. Making use of a financial tracker and tracking your daily spending so you know exactly where your money is going and can therefore make decisions about all those monthly payments that are sucking you dry financially, right? It's setting up a savings account, building an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. It's making use of sinking funds and saving on a regular basis for things like Christmas, traveling, and car maintenance. It's investing for your retirement, right? But getting organized encompasses so much more than just the tactical things like writing a budget, saving regularly, and setting up an investment account, right? It's also about having a clear vision and goals for your financial future. What do you want to accomplish? How do you plan on getting there? And for me, these were things I thought about, but never prioritized. I mean, I was saving it a little bit every month and I invested in my 401k, but just like the credit card thing, I grew up learning that this was just something you did when you got a job. So early on, I didn't really understand the details of how it all worked or what to select in terms of Roth versus traditional. I just picked one and invested enough to get the company match. But even though I was doing this, I still did not have a clear vision or goals. And as a result, one thing I did not do was take debt seriously. After graduating college in 2015, I had student loans like the majority of college students. And for the next 4 years, I paid the minimum payment I was required to pay by law. At that time, it was $200 and some odd a month. Now, I could have paid more, but I chose not to because why, right? I'm only required to pay X, so I'm going to pay X. In fact, after making consistent payments for 3 of those 4 years, I got a notification within my account that told me that my monthly payment was being lowered due to on-time payment history. So my monthly payment went from $200 and some odd a month to right under $100. And guess what I did? I paid what I was required to pay and nothing more. Long story short, I didn't take debt seriously because I could afford the monthly payment. The payments made it easy to stay broke and in debt. However, by the time 2019 rolled around, I made a decision to do something about my debt. And after getting organized financially, cutting out all of the unnecessary monthly payments, and developing a clear vision and financial goals for my future, I buckled down and I paid off $23,000 of student loans in 12 months. And I haven't been in debt since. So if you're listening to this right now and you have debts of any kind, whether it's student loans, a credit card, a car loan, I want to encourage you to get serious about your debt and devise a plan to pay it off as quickly as you can. Being debt-free and not owing anyone anything is the best feeling ever. Period. I cried when I made my last payments because I was so proud of myself for accomplishing something so huge, but also because I knew that I was taking steps in the right direction to not only change my financial situation, but to also change my family tree. Now, it wasn't easy by any means. It took sacrifice and discipline, but I also had to give myself an honest reality check. Because a poor habit that I had, that I argue many people have, is being product rich, but not actually rich. Prior to my minimalism journey and my debt freedom journey, I was product rich, but my bank account was very average. People often look at me with skepticism whenever I share my story, be it the fact that I paid off $23,000 in 12 months or how much clutter I had at the very beginning of my journey, until I whip out photos, right? Because at one point I had north of 60 pairs of pants and jeans, many of them with tags still on them that were brand new. I had somewhere around 100 t-shirts and shoes that I only wore the day I tried them on before purchasing them. And that was just my bedroom closet. I also had an 8-drawer dresser that was stuffed to the brim, storage containers under my bed, and 600 square feet or so of the rest of my apartment that was filled with gifts and gadgets and who knows what else. And I was only adding more. I was product rich, but I wasn't actually rich. And it was only after I learned how to want less and live with less that I discovered the true luxuries of life, leading me down a path of less clutter and more clarity, no debts, and a healthy financial future. Keep growing on your journey, my friend. Keep learning, and always remember to stay true to you. See you in the next one. Peace.